Hi, Uncle. How are you doing?
What's going on?
Everything is cool. How have you been? It's been a minute.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, everything is good. COVID and all.
COVID and all. Yeah, but I'm happy that you're well and you're safe. Just to give some background information about who you are and for the persons who will be viewing this feed, tell us a bit about yourself, what you do, where you're based, and how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected you, if it hasn't affected you, and how
hmm
have you worked around that?
Sure. My name is IRKO. I'm an audio engineer. I grew up in Europe, in Italy, moved to America 15 years ago, more or less, and I've been, living and working in recording studios every single day, pretty much. And my job at recording studios is that of highlighting and put the song that has been written, produced, recorded in its best light. So if you can picture, those magazine ads where you have the fatter person on the left and then the fit person on the right after they work out, I do that to audio. So I make the audio look or sound better, I guess. In terms of the COVID thing, the job of an audio engineer can be loosely categorized into two different folders, right? The recording part of the sessions, which is when the song is being captured, and then the mixing part of the session, which is after the song has been recorded, we put the song in its final shape, and then it's being put out to the radio or streaming platforms and stuff. I mainly do the second part, the mixing part. Mixing part very often happens remotely and without the talent or the producer in the actual room with me. So for that, COVID actually didn't really affect my work that much in terms of the mixing stuff because it's mostly unattended. I mostly work by myself and then send off the files to whoever has creative control on the record, right? But the recording, however, obviously has not happened at all. Clearly, in the last 2 months, there has been zero recording sessions. I am starting to get calls now, back up for a couple weeks from now. But I'm a little like, is it really time to do it yet? I'm not really sure.
So,
But
who have you worked with?
well, next week I'm doing a project with the Roots, and so that's not on my credits list on my website yet.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of hip hop artists, from Tory Lanez to Busy Bone, from Snoop Dogg to Kanye West, all of the usual suspect hip hop artists, which is I'm the unusual suspect, the bow tie wearing Italian guy showing up at recording sessions with a bunch of rappers. It's a little weird, right? But yeah, so a lot of urban stuff, a lot of R&B stuff, yeah, that kind of stuff.
So, what has been your greatest success?
Well, successfully putting together a business in the US has definitely been a big thing. Of course, I can name specific songs that I've done or specific experiences. For example, I worked 3 months at Bad Boy with Diddy. That was very, very illuminating for me. I learned so many things from that experience. I can't say there was one specific thing or one song that really put me on the map, but it was, of course, a series of bullets that were shot together that kind of made it happen. But yeah, there's the ability of setting up a business from nothing. I literally showed up in this country with a bag, literally.
Yeah.
And then eventually, slowly over the years, I was able to put together a career. And so but yeah, I guess the highlight of my career is usually when a record that I'm involved in becomes a big song. So anytime I see millions and millions of views on songs that I've mixed, it's like, wow, whenever I did that little change, that little tweak or whatever, that little thing has been heard millions and millions of times. So that's very nice.
So, tell me, how hard or easy is it working with fellow artists? How has that process been and that journey?
It's interesting because I often say that the more successful an artist is / has been, the easier it is to work with them. I find to have more issues usually with coming up artists that, maybe they just didn't have enough experience in understanding how things can go the wrong way, and how a talent can be turned down. For any enterprise, you gotta hear so many no's until you hear that yes, that one yes.
Yes,
So
I
that's
follow
like
you.
50,000 no's for one yes. That's the ratio, right? But for the most part, as long as you keep it respectful and professional, it's fine. I'm told that I'm very patient, and I know I am. But of course, there's a limit to some things sometimes. So yeah.
Okay, so what has been challenging for you?
The challenge, the number one challenge is to have the potential client, namely the artist or the producer, mainly the producer, to believe and trust my abilities. That's the first thing. Once I have that trust, they usually know that my only goal is to favor and treat the song and put the song at its best, right? So there's really not a lot of confrontation or anything there. Like, basically our conversation is to better make this piece of work and improve it to the best of its potential, right? That being said, that also happens with parents, right? But they still fight about what's right or wrong for the son or daughter, right? So there are sometimes, okay, are we going this way or are we going that way, right?
That's true.
But that being said, they are the producers and the artists. I consider them as the father of these babies. So
Yeah.
mother of these babies. So I want to make sure that I respect their vision and provide to it. So that's the challenging part: understanding what they are about and make sure that I deliver what they want with the respect of my name and techniques and what I'm known for.
Great. So you're jumping into something I was going to ask you. So what goes into your process? What goes into the perfect mix? What is the IRKO method?
There is two sides of this coin. The first one, which is not the most important, but it's the first one in the progress of the timeline, is to make sure we get the basics, the technicality things out of the way, right? So anything that has to do with numbers, frequency, compression, stereo spread, all of that stuff, all that hard data that's most of the times quantifiable by numbers and, data, I guess, right? So that's very important. But no one listens to numbers or data. They listen to the song, right? The piece of content that is to excite them or, be introspective or whatever the case may be, right? So that's the second part of it. And that is that all these technical things, all these, treatments and techniques and numbers, they need to support the content. The piece of content usually is a message. It could be a artistic solution. It could be, the description of a specific feeling or whatever the case. And so that really ultimately is the most important fact, which is, of course, sitting on top of the technicals. But it's kind of like how you got, bone structure on a body, but that's not really who you're talking to, right? So that's the same thing. We need to have the technical things done so that we have a solid building that can hold, but then we got to make sure that the building is welcoming and communicating the proper message, right? So that's a similar thing. So it's an in-between, right? There's a great degree of artistic take on all of this, but there's also a big degree of technicalities.